News Time.
Ian Collins on LBC.
It is LBC leading Britain's conversation back on the phones with you. We're talking about the revelations of Nadine Dorries, talking about the abuse she suffered at the hands of a vicar as a child. It's taken her 49 years to feel, I was going to say comfortable, maybe the word is confident, to be able just to speak about it. She said it was indeed life-changing. Lorraine in Romford, hello.
Oh, hello. Good evening, Ian.
Good evening.
I think it's fantastic that Nadine's come forward, but when I was speaking to a researcher, what I was saying was on the 23rd of February this year, Labour MP John Mann put forward for there to be an amendment to the Official Secrets Act.
Okay.
This amendment would have actually protected whistleblowers and potential witnesses, because we've seen a lot with the Cyril Smith case, lots of all these high-profile VIP cases.
Sure.
People have tried to come forward before, and they've been threatened with all sorts. And this amendment would have actually, made them feel much more confident. And what I don't understand is Nadine Dorries, along with, the majority of the coalition, all voted against this amendment. And I just think that it's really, really strange, because if we can't...
So what would just remind me, Lorraine, specifically what would the amendment have done?
It would have actually given people protection so they couldn't be prosecuted under the Official Secrets Act. What the government turned around and said was people won't be prosecuted, but they've got to understand that people don't really trust the government. And these people, if you came forward and you reported something and you got threatened with prosecution, maybe 20 years ago, you're going to be very hesitant to come forward now. And I know it's a very small step. I mean, every day we're hearing more and more of the horror of the things that have happened, but it would have been a step in the right direction. I mean, I've even tried, my own MP, Andrew Rosendale, when it was the elections, I actually attended a hustings event, and I actually asked him and said, why did you vote against this amendment? And he turned around and said that he didn't remember voting, he didn't recall it at all, and he would never vote against anything that would, hinder the investigations against historic child abuse. And the next day I found the voting record. It was very specific what it was for, but for some reason all of the coalition voted against this. And it seemed as if, as well, this wasn't really publicised, this amendment. It wasn't in the news or anything. You can only find details of it on a few sites on the internet. And I just can't understand why so many people voted against this amendment, because it would have made so much difference.
And it does. Do you think there's... I don't wish to defend, what clearly seems indefensible, but one sort of assumes that there must have been reasons for voting against it.
Well,
is that being too generous? I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine what might have been going on in the minds of usually... I know we don't like to think of MPs being sane and sensible, but most of them actually are.
Oh, I know, but no, the reasons they give to me wasn't really justifiable, because they were saying that, we've assured people, no one will be prosecuted under the Official Secrets Act. But what if somebody come up with a name that nobody had heard before, that would cause more problems? I just think it's a very small step, and it's something that should be done. I just find it very strange that so many of the coalition voted against this amendment. I think there was about 7 Conservative MPs. I think one of them was Zach Goldsmith, that actually voted for it.
Yeah.
And it would have made, I feel, a hell of a lot of difference. I mean, Labour MP John
Mann?
No, not John Mann, sorry, Tom Watson has actually got a petition going at the moment, and I'm a member of a group called Justice for Victims for Child Abuse, and one of the things we're trying to do is promote that petition. It's already got about 19,300 signatures.
Yeah.
Because we just feel this would be a small step into in the right direction, because more people would feel confident coming forward.
And given that part of the narrative, and I know it's only part of it, has been that there's a sense of an establishment cover-up, by voting against something that involves even the words the Official Secrets Act sort of compounds our belief that there is a cover-up of some sort.
Oh, I think there definitely does seem to be. I mean, each day there seems to be more and more stuff coming out. And, I mean, it's been on the alternative media for a long time. It's only been in the mainstream media probably for the last year.
But you probably know as well as I do then, Lorraine, that the alternative media, as we call it, sometimes you have to be cautious about it, because it is also, it's an open season for anybody to lob a name in there.
I know that, yeah. I mean, some of the things you read on there, you think, but a lot of the things that I'd read on there, did eventually have come out into the main media.
That's true.
And I was just, when it did come out, I thought, thank God for that. These people are finally going to get the justice that they deserve. But it seems as if they've been going around in circles. I mean, the latest revelation was it could take up to 9 years, which seemed absolutely ludicrous. But I just feel it's very, very strange. I mean, the amendment to the Official Secrets Act wouldn't be a threat to national security, because it was very specific what the amendment actually was for. And, I'm surprised with Nadine Dorries, because being a victim, I thought that, she would have voted along those lines, because it needs to come out.
I would be interested to, and it's interesting that had I realised that, I'd have been able to pass that on to my colleague John Stapleton. He might have been able to put that question to her, not to trip her up in any way while talking about something sensitive, but it's a legit question. And so is that there really? Is the whole point of it, Lorraine? I'm just getting some more explanation of it. Is it that individuals who would have signed the Official Secrets Act, that would normally have been told they couldn't come forward because they'd be breaching the Act by naming somebody who'd also signed the Official Secrets Act?
I'm not sure. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure of the exact ins and outs of it. But
so if you both worked in the MOD, for example, whatever level, but you both signed the Official Secrets Act, you were abused, is the suggestion you wouldn't be able to, at the moment, you wouldn't be able to report that person because you'd be breaching the Official Secrets Act by doing it?
Yeah, you would be breaching the Official Secrets Act, but they're giving you, I think it was Theresa May said, you don't need to worry because we won't do that. But people have tried. I think police officers have been threatened with it before. I read Simon Danzig's book on Cyril Smith, and you can see there were so many times where he was so close to being caught, and they were threatened with the Official Secrets Act, the police and various other individuals. And had they have caught, if they'd have stopped him at that point, it could have saved, a few more. A lot of these.
What would they? Which part of the Official Secrets Act would that have broken then, or breached, or caused a problem for? Or was it just used as a sort of catch-all phrase?
I think it was just used. I think it's like any kind of legal document. There's so many different points of it that you can.
Somebody throws out the word Official Secrets Act to you, and people start to get a bit scared,
like
don't they?
Forms, isn't it? It's so many different bits and pieces, and
people get a bit nervous if they think, am I doing something wrong by? Which, if you think about how unjust that is in comparison to the kind of things we're talking about here, it's an outrage. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to actually have, to actually be brave enough to come forward to report something, like this. And I mean, like I say, with my own MP, Andrew Rosendale, I asked him the question, when I found out that the vote was so clear, I actually confronted him. I tried to speak to him, and he literally walked away from me. And then I stopped him again, and he wouldn't speak to me. And then later on, I found out he'd actually called the police on me.
Why did he not want to speak to you?
I mean, the thing is, I am a local campaigner and blogger, and I do sort of speak quite openly about things. So, but this wasn't about politics. He even accused me on our local Time FM, because I got them to actually ask the question to him again then, and then he came up with the answer that it was all to do with national security, which it wasn't. And he more or less turned around and said, it's this, this is this political mischief from the left wing that this person belongs to, which to me was ridiculous, because I thought, this isn't about politics. This is about, this is about victims of child abuse, and it's about people getting justice. There is a bigger world than,
than Westminster.
Politics.
Yeah,
exactly.
Good call. Listen, Lorraine, I'm sure we will speak again on this, because it's certainly an area that always deserves airtime, and whilst we are still all awaiting answers, it's important that we keep up. We certainly keep talking about it. And if, despite the inconsistency, if the Nadine Dorries story does, at some level, bring something again to the forefront, then hopefully it's a good thing.
Okay, then. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening to me.
Cheers. It's a pleasure. Lorraine in Romford. We'll talk to Joy in a second. Don't go away, Joy. 0345 60 60973. Don't forget, on Twitter, we're at LBC, or follow me on Twitter at Ian Collins UK. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/Ian Collins UK. Tick the word like, and you're in. There's always a bunch of debates and conversations going on in parallel with the show as well. All of that and more of your calls on its way here on LBC.
Coming up at 1 on LBC, Darren Adam.
Nominations for the Labour leadership open today, and the party contenders are due to be grilled by union activists as they fly to Dublin for hustings at the GMB's annual conference. But with Burnham, Kendall, Cree, Cooper and Corbyn, do any of them strike you as prime ministerial material?
Leading Britain's conversation, Darren Adam. This morning from 1 on LBC.
It is LBC leading Britain's conversation, and I think what would be interesting if Lorraine in Romford, who called us a second ago and was talking about the issue of MPs voting against an area of reporting child abuse to do with the Official Secrets Act. Lorraine, if you could send me a link to the story you're referring to, because a few people have asked what that story is specifically. If you could send me a link on Twitter to @IanCollinsUK, that would be really helpful, just so we can have a little further look into what it is that isn't happening in that department. So that's Lorraine in Romford. If you could drop me a link to @IanCollinsUK, and we can look at a bit more about what that story is about. Joy is in